everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA opinions of the week. We've had a couple NBA videos. We talked about the NBA Cup, but also we talked about the scheduling, and it just happened that the report came out about the ratings being lower with the NBA. And there, of course, have been theories about how to fix NBA ratings, but I'm curious what I'm sure, Austin, you've seen them too, and I'm sure you're not a fan of them.
They're stupid. That's the best way I can put it. Like, with anything that involves a serious rule change, I just think is some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I like this creator that said this, so I'm not going to shout them out. And if they do somehow come across this isn't hate. I do watch your stuff. But somebody said it like there should be a max amount of threes you can shoot in a game because, there's too many threes. That's not the problem. The problem with basketball is that I can't watch a Mavs game because I'm too close to them. That's the problem with basketball. I'm too close to the Thunder. I can't watch the Thunder. That's a problem. That is an inherent problem with the sport. That is the fact that you have to own 10 different streaming sites. The fact that they don't know, hey, maybe put games on Wednesday. If there was games on ESPN, on TNT, yesterday as we're recording this, Wednesday, maybe people would watch those games because it's just your only competition is NFL and very, very mid bowl games. Not very high tier bowl games. UNLV bowl games. And UNLV blew them out, so it didn't even matter. The fact that is not a conversation that needs to be had is a problem. But if you're talking, there needs to be less threes taken. Unfortunately, and again, this isn't hate towards those people. You just don't like the sport. I don't understand why. I understand it to an extent, especially in baseball. People say analytics is ruining the sport. In baseball, I think that it's becoming too much in certain circumstances. I'm a big analytics, big numbers guy. You know that, right, Kevin?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That I'm really big into analytics and numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think it's beneficial.
But in MLB, I can see how it's getting too much. I can see how people, I think, overthink the numbers. That they're like, oh, this guy is barely better. I have to put him in. I think reading the room, understanding how a player's playing currently, not everything can be decided by a computer. I don't think a computer would be a good manager. There's stuff you can do as a manager, making decisions, knowing how many pitches, that is more about feel in this moment right now. Hey, this guy, this is a team he's played against before. It's a rival team for him. He's always played well against them. That maybe the numbers say, okay, don't let him go the third time through the order when maybe you should, right? I do think it's sometimes you get ahead of yourself with it. But I will say, in the NBA, you don't want people shooting threes. Means that I will say as well, and I keep saying those words, the NBA has a problem with coaching, in my opinion, because players don't seem to have the freedom to make decisions in a lot of circumstances. If you're not the main ball handler, you don't really have the freedom to take a out-of-pace shot. And now, you shouldn't be able to take that many of them, but there's some circumstances where I'm like, that guy could definitely drive and probably get a good shot. he has a mismatch, but they just want to pass it to Shea so that he can take a fading midi. And it's like, that's just not the best course of action right now. It's not. But you need to shoot threes, but you don't need to be robotic. I don't know how to explain it, but the NBA feels robotic. When I'm watching it, it feels like I'm watching robots play the sport sometimes. Unless I'm watching Jokic or watching players that are very creative. If I'm watching let me see if I can give a fair example.
Trying to think of a team that shot a lot of threes, because the three does give an analytical advantage, and analytics to me are a tool, but you also still have to be good at hitting threes. Like, you have the Rockets where they were just shooting threes and that was the team, but they still were competitive. I'm trying to think of a bad team in the few years where it's just like they're going to shoot three, instead of just getting a good shot, there's a lot of, because there is that graphic of like all the shots, but it's just because players are really good at shooting the three, and it's just better if you can convert a three. It gives you a better chance of winning because of the analytics than just converting a two.
I don't even think it's analytics. At some point, people just have to realize that 3 points is more than 2 points, right?
Mhm.
So people wanting to shoot them more makes sense.
And players that are good at it, like Curry is fantastic. And there are just so many good players where they shoot the three incredibly well. So why not shoot that versus a two?
There's just I think a lot of casual viewers are having problems with they don't even. I just don't. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's just, you don't like the sport, so you want the sport to change the way you like it more. But that would make it inherently worse for the people that have liked basketball forever. Now, I do think the NBA has a problem with ratings, and I do think there's a way to fix it. And that way to fix it is being better with your scheduling and having many more games on ESPN, on TNT that are free, not free, but are much more accessible for someone to watch than League Pass. I have League Pass because I love watching the NBA, but I have to have League Pass to watch my favorite team play, that's a problem. I don't understand why there's not more games that are easier to watch. I think every night that a game is on, this isn't the case, by the way, there should be a game on ESPN, on TNT. Somebody is going to watch it. And I think that the NBA has a problem with creating an easy-to-view product that's accessible and is available to a wide range of audiences. And I think that that failure is the reason for their fall. The fact that I can watch just having ESPN Plus, which you can do a lot of stuff with. I can watch a lot of NHL games. You mentioned before they have Victory Plus for the Ducks and the Stars, and that's free to view for those teams as long as you're in their area or in the states bordering it. So that's, I think, a benefit to the fans. If you want to make more money off of fans, you have to have more fans, right? I think the NBA, people get it twisted. I think the NBA and a lot of other owners, and this is not just sports, this is everything. Think let's make our fans or our customers, our clients pay more so that we get more money. That's not how you should look at it. Let's get more customers and then make more money that way. That is, I think, the more not sustainable, but also just it's just the more simple way of doing it to where you don't lose fans. It's a safer way of doing it, and I think it's the more sustainable. What the NBA is doing, why the ratings are going down, is their current viewers, the people who love to watch basketball, cannot easily watch basketball, so they're stopping to watch it. It's just not easy. I can't do it. I don't want to buy League Pass. I can't afford it. Okay, well that makes total sense. And therefore you can't follow your team easier. And you bought League Pass. Well, think about it. Now you can't watch your favorite team because you're too close to them. Okay, at that point you're just like, well, what's the point of me getting League Pass if you only like to watch your team? But do I want to pay League Pass prices to watch one team? No, that's not worth it. So the NBA is trying to squeeze every dollar out of the current fan base instead of growing the fan base into something bigger, like a lot of other sports are doing right now. obviously is easier for the NFL. I don't think it's a fair comparison. But if we compare them to the MLB, to the
NHL.
NHL, yeah. Like MLB. MLB has MLB TV. Do I hate it partially? Yes. Why is it better than the NBA? Well, the MLB has a free game of the day every day. If you have the app and have a sign in, no pay, there is a free game of the day. It may not be your favorite team, but you can watch it. The one problem with that is that, again, if it's your favorite team and it's close to you, like if you don't have Bally Sports or whatever it is for the Rangers, you can't watch them. But there's no NBA free game of the day because there's also MLB games on ESPN. So there's normal ESPN games. So that's not the comparison between the NBA having ESPN and TNT and the MLB having ESPN. It doesn't really correlate. But there's no like NBA League Pass free game of the day. That doesn't happen. On Sundays, Kevin, there are no games on the NBA. None that you could watch if you don't have League Pass. If the NFL season's going on. 0. That's a problem. Now, do I watch all of the games on Sundays? Not all of them because I'm watching some NFL, but I do watch games on Sunday. But you have to have League Pass. And I know I've been talking for the majority of the video, but I do think there is a problem, and I don't think it's basketball oriented. I don't think it's dribbling the ball oriented. I think it's corporate oriented.
Yeah, you said a lot of what I was thinking, and to kind of expand on that NBA League Pass, I googled it. It's $17 per month for NBA League Pass. NBA TV, it looks like $6.99 a month.
But NBA TV is the one game a day, like I told you. Like it's like the MLB free game of the day is just imagine paying $6.99 per month for it. It's stupid. It's stupid. The MLB will give you a free game of the day as long as it's not for you, like Kevin, the Rangers, right? Yeah. If you're near the Rangers, then you don't have an MLB free game of the day. But every other day, you have an MLB free game of the day. And I have MLB TV as well because I love watching every Yankee game, but also just sports in general. That is a benefit that if you just have the app, can watch for free. And the NBA does not make it easy to watch their sport.
Yeah, and that's to me where it's not getting to the viewer for someone. It's a pain to watch, and paying $17 for a casual viewer. Like I don't really want to pay $17 because that'd be a lot. Even though I pay for ESPN Plus, which is cheaper than that, and I get tons more stuff.
Is it $17.99 or $16.99?
It's $16.99, so $17. I just round up with $16.99. And that's just a lot of money to pay for an NBA thing, especially if I'm casual and I'm really busy. I can't watch it. But and you also talk about ESPN and TNT. ESPN, you sometimes have to add on. If you're a sports fan, of course you're going to have ESPN. But for a casual viewer that does want to pay for ESPN or just goes off not really cable, because there was also that point where Spectrum didn't have ESPN for like a few days, and people were like, "What the heck is happening?" So just putting on easier places, like I know it's different from the NFL just because of how big the NFL is, but they put it on Fox, CBS. Those are things you can get easily. Then you also have NBC, and then they also have the other stuff, which I don't like. But getting it to at least for a casual fan, because we're still going to go after NBA stuff. When I have more time, I'm going to find games. I'm going to find a game to watch. But for someone that's just like, I've heard about Anthony Edwards, I've heard about Luka, heard about LeBron, of course. They're like, well, I can't really find it. I'm not going to spend that. They're not going to spend that much time doing it. They're just going to go something easy. So just putting it out there. And then this was someone like Bob Sturm tweeted, because he's a big Bucks fan, and he's like, oh yeah, Giannis is always talking about trades. I do think sports talk just kind of in marketing players, because there are players to market. Like the way Anthony Edwards blew up in the playoffs, that's something to where the NBA could capitalize on that and put it on free games. So people can get connected to Anthony Edwards. And I do think there's like a villainizing of players. And I just think Luka's the villain. But like Jokic, just putting him on easier places and not talking about Jokic getting traded or Giannis getting traded, but talking about, okay, what is this player doing? How does this player work? And kind of, I blame that on ESPN, just like the way sports talk is. I'm just like, oh, this can happen. Oh, they're upset. Because that was a lot of what was happening with Giannis this offseason. Of like, oh, he's going to demand a trade. You have it going on with the Heat right now. So to me, the main thing is what you said of just not getting it to players. And we talked about that with scheduling and just getting it to people easily. Paying for League Pass, $17 is a lot per month. And I like to do, since I really love food, and I'm sure you're the same way, I will compare what meal can I get for this? That is like a sit down restaurant meal once a
Yeah,
month.
and it's 110 months or 110 months, $110 a year if you want to buy the annual subscription, which is still a hefty price. And I almost $10 a month if you just were to buy the annual, but that means you're committed to it being a 12-month thing, and it just there's so many subscription. I think people. I think this is a problem with a lot of streaming services, or people are starting to have problems with them, and the fact that the NBA has their own, I think it does rub off the wrong way on a lot of people, and the NBA has to be better at presenting their product in a accessible and available fashion that is also affordable. And I hope that can change, but I do think that's the main problem with the ratings and why they are down and people aren't watching, because they cannot afford to watch.
Mm-hmm. And to me, the other thing is just getting players. Like, I know I'm a super NFL person, but if I've gotten friends of mine they just know about Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston is not a great quarterback, but it's just getting the player in front of the camera. And Jameis Winston is like a great personality. To me, you had that with Anthony Edwards. He was also a great player in the playoffs. And you don't really get that till the playoffs. So if there's ways they can get that going, like I didn't know about the OKC interviewing thing till last season when they were going in the playoffs. Were you familiar with that?
Well, just explain it.
Like the whole team gets interviewed. The whole
Oh,
team
yeah,
was
yeah,
being
yeah.
interviewed. And when it came to the playoffs, they went to the local guy. So if you're just a random onlooker like me, and like I follow the Mavs, but like I knew OKC was good, but I didn't know they had that bit of being interviewed as a team. They have the dog barking. To me, that's something that would draw someone, but you're not really hearing about it. And I'm also on Twitter too, and I don't really get that either. So, and I didn't get that. So that's just my thing. The only game thing I would say is free throws, but that's not the main problem. That's
There's
just,
also too many, I think, advertisements, too many stoppages of play. I do think that is a problem. I understand if that was something that people are concerned about or something that they have problems with. I get that. But I do think the main problem is, again, affordable, accessible, and available.
and just getting it to people to where they can easily find it. That's the main thing. And so that's really the main thing. And that explains why the ratings are down, because there also was the joke of, we're going to games through the illegal website of just, I'm watching games there. And I'm sure you don't get the number of people watching games there from those type of websites. So I'm curious if there was ever data found of like, okay, how many guys are watching it? But that is also an extra means and just that whole situation. But yeah, it's really just marketing and getting it to the people and getting people interested quickly, because there is a lot to show with the NBA. I think it's great. Players hitting threes. I love I love the celebrations, and I just love learning about the players. And I'm sure other people share the same feelings. So that's really all the problems I have with it, as you mentioned. I'll let you close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know what your thoughts about the NBA. What should they change? Is it more about on the court problems, or is it like Kevin and I talked about with off the court issues, whether by how they present their players or the cost of league pass and other things? And please catch you in our next video.